The weekend is almost here. Easter weekend, as a matter of fact. It's Good Friday, so Good Friday to you. Third day of April 2026. I'm Dan Kuntz, your host. This is Wake Up in Angie Valley. High clouds, 41 degrees. We'll see some sunshine, pretty quiet weather. Very nice weekend outside of a couple of high clouds. We're going to be under the influence of a pretty sizable ridge of high pressure. Dry weather, periodic clouds here and there, nothing we can't handle. One of the nicer weekends of the year is almost here, but we got to get there first, and so we have this show to do it. We will have the weather forecast, we will have the news, we will have the sports, Kraken. Anyway, we'll have that. In the back half of the program, you probably saw a highlight or two if you've been watching this program at all lately with Jefferson Robbins' interview with Jesse Collins. Jesse Collins runs the Douglas County Office of Public Defense. He is the head dude, the director. He has a staff of about 7, himself as an attorney, 3 other attorneys who work in the public defense for Douglas County, a couple of investigators and some support staff. And a good conversation about how they get their money and how they do their job. Douglas County is lucky because folks like Jesse are good at what they do. Defending those people who don't have the money to defend themselves in court. That conversation in the back half of the program, and Mike Magnotti has an opinion too on this Good Friday. Without wasting any more time, because it's Friday, we want to get our weekend going as soon as possible. We're off to our cameras. There are the high clouds hanging around. Again, temperature is going to be considerably warmer. Check out this. Did Thursday feel normal weather-wise? It was. Our high yesterday, 57. Normal high, 58. Our low yesterday, 38. Normal low, 38. It's about as normal as you can get. Days are getting longer there. There's the Hay Canyon camera, by the way. 6:35 was sunrise this morning, just about a half an hour ago. Sunset tonight, 7:34. That's 12 hours and 58 minutes of daylight. Tomorrow, on Saturday, we will have 13 hours and 1 minute of daylight. We go past the 13-hour mark on a Saturday. Sure sign of spring. Leavenworth is busting out all over. No snow there anymore. It's all gone. Wasn't that long ago. There were a couple of patches of snow in the upper elevations. I don't see any way off in the distance. A couple of little spots. Of course, that's Submission Ridgeway. That's, 5,000-6,000 feet. They still got snow up there. Good morning to Leavenworth. And speaking of light snow, any up Valley High? No. That's the Valley High camera. Hope Valley High, by the way, wins their baseball games this weekend. That's my favorite prep team to follow, Valley High. That's the DOT shed that you see on your screen just off of Blewett Pass, where they have the sanders and the plows and all that stuff. So that's Blewett Pass. That's the ribbon of highway that you see there from our Valley High camera. Like to use that one whenever we can. I usually don't do this on a Friday, but it occurred to me that, they do a monthly temperature and precipitation outlook. The Climate Prediction Center does. I thought, I should probably put that up. Even though they spit this out on Tuesday afternoon, it's still relevant. This is for the month of April. As you can see, we're leading to have above normal temperatures and below normal precipitation. So it looks like it's going to be a warmer and drier April than normal. It's been a warmer and drier 2 years, quite frankly. But there it is. There's your monthly temperature and precipitation outlook for the month of April from the Climate Prediction Center. If you like it really warm and really dry, head to Utah and Colorado. That's where the action's going to be, and most of Nevada, too, for that matter. From our friends at Colonial Vista Senior Living in Wenatchee, it's where comfort, care, and community come together. I know it's cloudy right now, but we're going to see sunshine for the most part today. And we'll top off about 59, just about a degree or two above normal. Fairly clear tonight, 38 for the overnight low. As I mentioned before, over the weekend, we're going to see periodic cloud cover, not too low, but every once in a while a cloud will come around. But outside of that, we'll see mostly sunny skies on Saturday and a high of 64. Easter Sunday, it'll be more sun than clouds, but we can't rule out a few clouds popping in, popping out for Easter Sunday and a high of 68. How about 73 with sunshine on Monday? And then the ridge will begin to break down Monday night into Tuesday. Tuesday, not bad. Still going to have sunshine Wednesday and Thursday. We're going to cool back down a little bit as some cooler air from the Gulf of Alaska begins to swing down Tuesday night into Wednesday. But that's not a bad forecast at all things considered, and one of the nicer weekends we've had so far this year. But the year is still young. We're going to take a break and come back and give you your Friday morning news, and there's a lot to do so, and we'll do it in 2 minutes. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCB Live channel.
Your favorite local channel is now available for free on your smart TV and connected streaming devices. Watch live programming and catch up with the latest shows on demand. See the local stories that matter to you. NCW Life, now on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV.
Hi, I'm Amanda Walden with A. Walden Insurance Group. Medicare can be overwhelming, but you don't have to figure it out alone. I've been helping people understand their Medicare options for over a decade. Medicare isn't a one-size-fits-all. I'll help you understand your coverage options so you can feel confident in your decisions. Let's find the right Medicare plan for you. Call me today or come and see me at my office located on South Chelan Avenue in Wenatchee between the YMCA and the Social Security office. I look forward to meeting you soon.
Fibercrete fireproof safety rooms can be the difference between life and death for you and your family. Typical fireproof safety rooms are 8x8 Fibercrete panels providing a solid sanctuary. Fibercrete safety rooms can be above ground, buried underground, or built within new home construction. Best of all, a safety room by Fibercrete is very affordable. Call 360-770-2088. You owe it to your family to find out more about Fibercrete safety rooms.
At Colonial Vista Senior Living, we believe life is meant to be lived fully. Our wellness programs inspire residents to stay strong, flexible, and confident every day. Here, curiosity is encouraged, friendships are nurtured, and every activity is an opportunity to connect, create, and enjoy life together. We invite you to experience the lifestyle at Colonial Vista Senior Living for yourself and discover why so many call our community home.
"41 degrees, a few high clouds. We're going to be in for a very nice stretch of weather outside of the occasional cumulus flying in and flying out. We're in for some pretty sunny and pretty warm weather for the Easter weekend. It's 7 minutes after the hour. That fire in a Sterling Junior High School portable classroom on Tuesday is now raising questions about the school's emergency alert systems after a witness reported that no fire alarm sounded and conflicting messages appeared during the evacuation. The portable building was used for a YMCA early learning class for the children of employees of the Eastmont School District. Azuzina Jimenez is a YMCA staff member, and she says no fire alarm sounded as the fire began and that a display screen inside the portable showed a lockdown message instead of an evacuation notice. Eastmont Superintendent Spencer Taylor said the district is aware of concerns about the fire alarm system and that the issue is under investigation in partnership with Wenatchee Valley Fire Department. He says he didn't know about the conflicting messages, but emphasized that a message was sent for students to, quote, stay secure during the emergency. The U.S. Forest Service announced this week it's going to shut down the Wenatchee Forestry Sciences Laboratory. It's part of a major reorganization of that agency. The closure coincides with the U.S. Department of Agriculture's announcement that it plans to move the Forest Service headquarters from Washington, D.C. to Salt Lake City. The agency currently operates multiple research centers across the country. Each center has its own leadership structure. In the reorganization, the USDA is planning a single Forest Service research organization in Fort Collins, Colorado. The Forest Service did not immediately respond to our inquiries about when the Wenatchee closure might take place and how many employees might be affected. A local union representative for Forest Service workers says the national union will try to negotiate the matter with the federal government. In a joint meeting earlier this week, the East Wenatchee City Council and Douglas County Commissioners agreed to expand the city's urban growth area to address the region's growing housing needs. A 2025 land capacity study found that the current East Wenatchee UGA is unable to meet the projected housing supply needs by more than 1,200 units. Commissioners and council members on Tuesday agreed to expand the UGA by an additional 140 acres. The new properties would be upzoned to allow for denser housing projects. Curtis Lilquist is East Wenatchee's Community Development Director, and he said that a first draft of the comprehensive plan will be available by early July, final approval sometime in November or December. Testimony began this week in Phoenix in the murder trial of a Wenatchee man accused of killing his tenant. 63-year-old George Crater Jr. used a wheelchair to enter Maricopa County Superior Court on Monday. He's charged with murder, kidnapping, assault, and related counts in the 2024 death of Thomas Galatola. The victim previously rented a house in the Phoenix suburb of Sun City, which was owned by Crater's family. Galatola died from internal injuries days after Crater allegedly beat and tortured him over 2 months of unpaid rent. The jury trial opened Monday with testimony from Sheriff's Deputy Juan Diaz. He was the main investigator in the case. Prosecutors objected to opening statements from Crater's lawyer in which he seemed to suggest his client might have harmed Galatola in self-defense.
I would note for the court that this is a violation of Rule 15.2, that the defense did not specifically left the self-defense box blank and did not provide adequate notice to the state regarding the intent to pursue self-defense. This defense has now announced for the first time in opening that they will be arguing self-defense, and this is a violation of 15.2. The state will discuss internally what appropriate sanctions might be and will file a motion if appropriate, but I would just put on the record for the court that this is the posture of where we are and that the state learned of the self-defense claim for the first time in defense's openings.
Mr. Feldman.
I'm not arguing self-defense or crime prevention or anything like that, and I will not ask for those instructions. I am allowed to discuss the facts, though.
From the court's perspective, and I don't exactly remember word for word what was stated, but the court's impression was that it wasn't a self-defense justification as much as the causation of what you were stating was potentially not directly caused by Mr. Crater. I didn't hear necessarily a self-defense other than the defense stating that there was some reciprocal or reverse aggression. From the court's perspective, as I sit here now, the court would believe that both of these statements, or at least some of those statements, fall within that lack of general intent, lack of specific intent arenas, which were noticed.
The trial is scheduled to continue through next week. Crater's family and co-workers turned him into police after he allegedly admitted to assaulting Galatola. One of his brothers who co-owned the house in Sun City, Dwayne Crater of East Wenatchee, is among those witnesses summoned to testify. The active duty Army specialist accused of gunning down 2 women and wounding 3 others has pled not guilty a second time, this time in military court. 28-year-old James M. Kelly is facing a court-martial at Joint Base Lewis McChord for the mass shooting he had allegedly committed outside a Gorge Amphitheater music festival in the summer of 2023. Registered nurses Brandy Escamilla and Jocelyn Ruiz, who were engaged to be married, died in the gunfire. Kelly was first charged in Grant County Court before his case was transferred to Army jurisdiction. That happened in February. Kelly entered his not guilty plea Friday in the court complex at JBLM and asked to be tried by a jury of Army officers and enlisted members. He remains confined in the JBLM Correctional Center. No trial date has yet been set. Survivors of Escamilla and Ruiz are suing the amphitheater owners, Live Nation, over a claim that a lack of security contributed to their deaths. And finally, on this Friday, Tony Lee Harriman. He's an 84-year-old retired Air Force veteran. He's riding his recumbent bike from coast to coast. He's encouraging support for homeless veterans. Harriman arrived in the Valley yesterday on the first leg of his journey. You can see and read more about Tony's journey in this weekend's Wenatchee World. We caught up with Tony and Post Commander Mike Gardner from American Legion Post number 10 to talk about the project.
I've always had a desire to do a long distance trek on a bicycle. So I was introduced to recumbents. In 2017, I fell in love, and I've always wanted to do it on a recumbent. So here we go. 4,000 plus miles across the United States. The homeless plight for veterans is a real thing. And the Tunnel to Towers Foundation, one of their goals is to eradicate homelessness in the United States. And they're doing this by buying old motels and fixing them up and putting medical and psychiatric care, and they're doing this all around the country.
We're going to have a meet and greet at the American Legion today at 4 o'clock from 4 to 7. It's open to the public, and we're just going to spend some time. There'll be some refreshments, and we're going to spend some time visiting with Tony and talking a little bit about what brought him to take this type of an excursion across the U.S. We're also to help with fundraising and to support him in his journey on the Tunnel to Towers and his trip onto the East Coast.
Pretty darn impressive. That's the news on this Good Friday. One more news before the weekend comes your way, a newscast anyway. It'll be at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock tonight. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock tonight. Quick programming reminder, we'll have Eastmont Soccer. The Eastmont boys are hosting the Davis Pirates at Wildcat Stadium. We'll have that for you also streaming, so you can check it out if you can't make it to the pitch. The news will also be on our YouTube page. We're on Roku, we're on Amazon Fire, we're on Apple TV Plus. We have an X, we have an Instagram, we have a morning guy who does this with his finger, and we have an email address, news@ncwlife.com. Sports is next. You're watching a Friday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Are you dealing with a pest or weed issue and you just don't know what to do?
We use the best pest control methods approved for areas with kids and pets.
Whether it's rats, mice, ants, or spiders,
or something else altogether. We provide the coaching and solutions you're looking for.
And you can know that your dollars are supporting a local, family-owned and operated business.
Allow us to help you get back to living healthy and pest-free. Harvest Valley Pest Control.
Somewhere behind these doors is a family member, often alone, taking care of a loved one with Alzheimer's or some other disability, or providing care for a loved one who is not ill but only aging and no longer able to care for themselves. In the field of caregiving, this is the home front. For the home is where most Americans will live out their last days. Contact Aging and Adult Care of Central Washington for a variety of services including caregiving, meals, and medication help.
Welcome to Mountain Chick Floral, your go-to flower and plant shop in downtown Wenatchee. Explore their wide variety of unusual and fun plants. And when you buy a plant in a container, they'll pot it up for you absolutely free. Birthday or weddings, they'll create the perfect floral arrangement for you. Brighten up your office with fresh blooms delivered to your door or business. Ask about floral subscriptions. Visit Mountain Chick Floral today, where every occasion is a reason to celebrate with flowers.
A kitchen that makes mouths water and jaws drop. A bedroom from a dream with a bath from a spa. A walk-in you'd never want to walk out of. A pool like the fountain of youth. And a view that never gets old. When buying or selling a home of the highest standards, it's comforting to be represented by a real estate company with standards to match. Coldwell Banker Global Luxury. Live well with Coldwell.
Just about 19 minutes after the hour in sports, going into last night's game, the Seattle Kraken, the scenario was this. Seattle Kraken needed to beat Utah. They needed San Jose to lose. They needed Vegas to lose. None of those things happened. They took an early 2-0 lead and then gave up 6 consecutive goals, 6-2 in the final. Utah over the Kraken. So the Kraken have now lost for the 7th time in 8 games. They now trail 3 teams for the final wild card spot in the West.
George Everly tied up along the wall. Nice job defensively. Responsibly there was Cooley, but then a turnover. Taken back by Seattle. Centering pass. Adam Larson score! On a rebound. Jordan Everly. And the Kraken had taken the last 5 shots until that one. Bobby McMahon for Stevenson dropping down the slide. Rebound. Score! Bobby McMahon, 2-0 Kraken. For Utah that has been on fire recently. Last 3 games, the Mammoth have gone 5 for 9. with 2 power play goals against the Kings on Saturday. Here is Cooley. Shot, score! Power play goal! And Utah's on the board. It's 2-1 Seattle. Sergachev at the line. Uyghur. And that pass gets deflected down low, picked up by Gunther. Sergachev. All types of pressure here for this line from Utah. Uyghur looking in front. Rebound. Score! Logan Cooley ties the game. In the double minor. Here's Schmaltz. Cooley goes cross ice for Gunther, walks in. Keller down low center. Schmaltz score! Power play goal, the second for Utah tonight. 3-2. The Mammoth have taken the lead. Center circle, here's Cooley. Back into the Utah zone. Over 4.5 minutes into the third. Peterka cuts it. Score! J.J. Peterka. 2-goal lead for Utah. Tyler Yamamoto plays it back. Kraken, who started this game with so much desperation, playing well. Cooley's shot. Save, score, and a rebound. 5-2 Utah. In the wild card hunt in the Western Conference, but also because of the schedule they have the rest of the way. Centered for Krause. And the puck rolls up, tapped in, score!
Kraken have just 8 games remaining, so with Chicago in town tomorrow night, they got to start winning some games or their playoff hopes are all but done. Tomorrow they drop the puck at 7 o'clock on Kong TV. It's the home opener for the Los Angeles Angels down there in Anaheim. It's also the first road game of the year for the Seattle Mariners. They have identical records. They're tied for third in the AL West, and shortstop J.P. Crawford is back with the team. He started the season on the 10-day injured list with a shoulder injury, but he is in L.A. The M's and Angels face each other at 6:38 tonight and tomorrow night, then an afternoon game Sunday before Seattle heads to Texas next week. Prep Soccer scoreboard, pretty light schedule, but here's who do what. Here's your schedule. Here's your scoreboard. I'm feeling good. Brewster got by Omak on the pitch 5-1. It was Okanagan sneaking by Orville 3-2. Liberty Bell shut out Bridgeport 3-0. Tenasket 1. And Manson 0. Prep soccer schedule today really light. Just 3 games to note with the local teams. Cashmere will be at Granger at 6 p.m. We will be at Wildcat Stadium in beautiful East Wenatchee, Washington, as the Davis Pirates come to town. This will be a good one. Davis will be at Eastmont. We'll take to the air at about 6:45. The match will start at 7. Moses Lake will host the Wenatchee Panthers at 7 o'clock as well. That's today. Tomorrow's schedule, 11 a.m. is Manson at Orville. At 12 noon, Ellensburg welcomes Quincy to town in CWAC action. Freda and Othello in CWAC action at 12 noon. 1 o'clock, Cashmere will host Brewster and a non-leaguer. Omak will be at Tenasket at 2. And Chelan welcomes Everett to Chelan at 3 o'clock on the pitch on Saturday. This is not a typo, folks. The final last night, Quincy 29, Cashmere 0. Quincy 29, Cashmere 0 in prep baseball. And the rest of the games look something like this. Riverview will be at Brewster at 2:30 in a single game. Doubleheaders at 3 o'clock. Moses Lake welcomes Eisenhower. First pitch for the first game at Omak is at 3 o'clock. Lake Roosevelt and Omak in a doubleheader. Wenatchee will host Sunnyside at Historic Recreation Park. First pitch, first game at 4 o'clock. First pitch, first game at 4 o'clock for Davis. Hosting Eastmont. Riverview will take on Okanagan at 4:30 this afternoon. That game will be in Brewster. Chelan and Kai B will play in Yakima at 5 o'clock tonight, and also in Yakima at 7 o'clock it is Chelan against Royal. That's today. Prep baseball schedule for tomorrow. One single game. Liberty Bell will host Jenkins out at Chewelah at 11 a.m. and all the rest are double headers. Cashmere will welcome Zilla at 11 a.m. Tenasket at Manson at 11 a.m. and Freda at Toppenish at 11 a.m. Prep softball scoreboard. Chelan doubled up Cashmere. The final there was 12-6. Wenatchee will be at Sunnyside today for a doubleheader at 3 o'clock. 1 hour later, Eastmont welcomes Davis for a doubleheader. Eisenhower welcomes Moses Lake for a doubleheader. Ellensburg will be at Quincy today for a doubleheader in girls fast pitch softball at 4 o'clock. And then tomorrow, it's league games all around with the exception of Cle Elum and Chelan. Zilla will be at Cashmere at 11 a.m. Sela at Freda at 11 a.m. Doubleheader action. Okanagan and Bridgeport at 11 a.m. and Tenasket at Manson at 11 a.m. And then it's spring break next week, but there's still going to be some prep action, just not as much as usual. And those are just some of the games that people are playing. The following holidays are on the calendar for today outside of Good Friday. It's National Film Score Day today, National Tweed Day, National Chocolate Mousse Day. Sounds good to me. But no, today we're going to find a rainbow. It's National Find a Rainbow Day today. That's a pretty picture, isn't it? Of course, rainbows aren't objects. You can't touch them. You can't physically touch them. You can't even approach a rainbow. It's always just beyond your reach. Because the way our eyes work, no two people see the same rainbow. Even our individual eyes see slightly different rainbows. Rainbows are not just at rain. Any place where there is enough moisture in the air and the sun is at just the right angle, a rainbow will appear. So mist, like waterfalls, stuff like that, water drops on the air, dew. Whenever there's enough moisture in the air and the sun is at the right angle, you can see a rainbow. And a double rainbow, which is really cool, that's when a second, fainter rainbow can be seen outside the primary rainbow, which is pretty cool. This is caused by the light reflecting twice. Pretty neat. So go out and find a rainbow today. You'll have to go to a waterfall, I think, because it's not supposed to rain. It's 26 minutes after the hour today in history. $5,000. Jesse James, dead or alive? That was the offer from the governor of Missouri. $5,000. And on this date, Robert Ford said, I could use the $5,000. In 1882, $5,000 is a lot of money. For a lot of people, it's a lot of money now. April 3rd, 1882, Robert Ford kills Jesse James at James's home in St. Joseph, Missouri. So he went to the governor to claim his $5,000. Not only Robert Ford and his brother Charlie. They went to the governor and said, we get our money. So they surrendered immediately to authorities. And instead of getting their money, they were charged with first-degree murder. But for whatever it's worth, in the course of a single day, Robert and Charlie Ford were indicted. They pled guilty. They were sentenced to death by hanging, and they were given a full, free pardon by the governor, and then they got their $5,000. So it all worked out in the end. And Jesse James, you know, a legendary figure, but he was a bad guy. I guess maybe he had it coming. That was on this date 144 years ago today. The Marshall Plan, one of the most unselfish acts one country ever did for another continent. They learned their lesson from World War I. When World War I was over, everybody went home and didn't really take care of the countries that they defeated and conquered. Harry Truman knew better. He said, you know, Europe is devastated. We can't just say, good luck. We're going to go buy our washers and dryers and toasters and watch I Love Lucy. He said, no, Europe is destroyed and we got to fix it. In fact, we're the only country that can fix it. And the Marshall Plan went into effect on this date in 1948. The official amount was $13 billion in aid. That's about $200 billion in today's money. 16 countries were the recipients of it. It was officially called the European Recovery Program, but it became known as the Marshall Plan after George Marshall, the Secretary of State. He himself never called it that. And it worked. It worked in a big way, and it cemented our relationships between, say, us and the countries we beat, specifically Germany and Italy. They got dough, too. Martin Cooper had a rival in his line of work, Joe Engel. Martin and Joe were both working on the same project, how to make a handheld mobile cell phone, and Martin beat him to it. It was on this date in 1973, 53 years ago today, in Midtown Manhattan, that Martin Cooper of Motorola makes the very first cell call. Who did he call? His rival and friend Joe Engel at Bell Labs. Both Bell Labs and Motorola were working on the same thing, but Martin called him up in the middle of a downtown Manhattan street with a couple of photographers and a news writer, and he said, Joel, guess what I'm calling from? A cell phone. Right outside your office. Happy birthday to the cell phone. 53 years old today, and I wish I had one of those. That would be cool, walking around with one of those bricks. And it's hard to believe it's been 37 years. There's the box score from April 3rd, 1989 in Anaheim, which is where the Mariners are going to play. Actually, I think it was in Oakland. It was. Ken Griffey Jr. of the Mariners makes his major league debut. a 19-year-old rookie outfielder. Here is his very first at-bat against Dave Stewart of the Oakland A's.
20, 25 years from now, you're going to want to say, I was there when Ken Griffey Jr. made his home debut. So don't forget that on Monday night. There's a drive into the gap in left center field and deep left center field, and Henderson's not going to get to it. It's off the base of the wall, and Griffey to second base in his first major league at bat, a ringing double off the 375 marker, and we have seen that all spring. Welcome to the show, Ken Griffey Jr.
His first hit was a double. I did the research. He would hit 523 more doubles. Of course, he ended up with over 2,700 hits. He's in the Baseball Hall of Fame. He is without question the greatest baseball player in Seattle Mariner history. It's the bottom of the hour. Birthdays. During his time, he's mostly forgotten today, but during his time, he was called the most influential private citizen in this country. He carried a lot of weight because he founded and published Time magazine and Life magazine and Fortune magazine. He was a kingmaker. If you got on the wrong side of Henry Luce, you were in trouble. Henry Luce, the publisher, born in this date in 1898. Born 101 years ago today, a lot of actors consider him the actor's actor. Marlon Brando. If you sit down with actors who knew Brando or contemporaries, they would say we were all in awe of Marlon Brando. 2 Academy Awards for Best Actor as Terry Malloy on The Waterfront and as Don Vito Corleone in The Godfather. Marlon Brando was born 101 years ago today. And whether you like Saturday Night Live or don't like Saturday Night Live, this guy saved the franchise. Saturday Night Live is now in its 51st season, but it would have gone away if a 19-year-old kid by the name of Eddie Murphy didn't join the cast back in 1980. He single-handedly saved Saturday Night Live, I think, anyway. Most people agree. Of course, 48 Hours and Beverly Hills Cop franchise and all this other stuff. Happy 65th birthday to Eddie Murphy. For heated air, call Alpine Air. For heated air, call Alpine Air. They are our platinum sponsors. And my understanding of precious metals is platinum is pretty good, but I'm no expert. Mike Madani's got an opinion. The topic, don't be stupid. Easier said than done. And then our very own Jefferson Robbins had a chance to sit down with the man who runs the Douglas County Office of Public Defense, and he and his staff do a good job. Money's always an issue, it seems. That conversation is coming up. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
NCW Life Channel is your local TV station. We believe in being the spotlight and mirror to the communities we serve in North Central Washington. Programming on NCW Life would not be possible without our sponsors. Special thanks to our platinum sponsor, Alpine Air. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Alpine Air.
Apple Valley Honda is bringing the future of driving to you. Introducing the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue EV. Say goodbye to gas stations and hello to a whisper-quiet ride and zero emissions. The wait is over. Finally, a local option for a quality EV from a brand with a track record of exceptional quality and reliability. Experience the Honda Prologue EV for yourself at family-owned Apple Valley Honda. Stay close to home and visit us at Apple Valley Honda today for the life you live.
When your heating or cooling system is giving you trouble, call the diagnostic doctor from Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning.
Here's the culprit right here.
All joking aside, when you call Dick's, you're calling 35 years of experience at customer service right here in the Wenatchee Valley. Dick's strongly believes in repairing before replacing, and they service all major brands of HVAC units.
You trust the same doctor for your health and the same dentist for your smile. Trust Global Car Care to keep your vehicle running strong. We track your car's history so it gets the right care at the right time. With our 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on parts and labor, you'll drive away with confidence. Global Car Care, your automotive experts. We service all makes and models, but specialize in Sprinter vans, Mercedes, Audi, Volkswagen, and BMW. Call or visit us today.
Hey,
This is Mike Mad Dog Magnati, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, how we men perceive our behaviors with our wives can have a huge effect, not only on our relationships, but on how we end up being the man who we want to be. Now, working with a couple recently, the wife was weeping in rage due to her husband's insensitive behavior. Now, he looked at me and he said, "I'm not doing anything wrong. What am I supposed to do? Be a wimp and just do everything she tells me to do?" I told him, hey, stop being stupid and face the fact that you're insisting on doing what you want to do is being hurtful to a person who you claim to love, a woman who we promised to protect and cherish. I said, maybe you should be willing to let go of what you think your rights are and start showing some love and respect to your wife. Now, that's hardly being a wimp, my friend. That's being a real man. Now, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnati, and that's my opinion.
Your favorite local channel is now available for free on your smart TV and connected streaming devices. Watch live programming and catch up with the latest shows on demand. See the local stories that matter to you. NCW Life, now on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV.
Highlander Golf Course and Grill, your place for fun, food, and friends. Happy hour every day, 2 to 7. Try their brand new menu and famous prime rib every Saturday night. Planning a celebration? Book your holiday party, wedding, or private event, even in their exclusive simulator rooms. Highlander Golf Course and Grill, where every day is a celebration. Visit today.
For over 35 years, the Sangster family has been not only representing GMC, but the entire community.
As one of the few family-owned dealerships in Washington, you can count on our personal integrity, which has spanned over 3 generations, to ensure your satisfaction.
Sangster Motors stands behind everything we sell, from GMC professional-grade products and service from a professional-grade dealership.
Remember, caring about your family is what brings you back to ours.
Hey, welcome back to Save Mart. What can we help you find today?
We're looking for a mattress.
Oh, right this way. We got a large selection. We have this pillow top here.
Oh, comfortable.
We have more to choose from down here.
Oh.
I think I have the perfect one over here for you.
I guess we'll take this one.
You'll find it at Save Mart. Full service at a low, low price.
Chelan County has had public defense for quite some time as an organized office, but yours is relatively new, is that right?
As a county entity, that is correct, yes. I opened the office as director April of 22, so we're going on our 4th year here in 3 weeks. Before that, it was just done on a contract basis, so 3 local attorneys typically it was 3 attorneys for Superior Court and 2 more attorneys for District Court. There were 2 separate contracts with the county, and just local private criminal defense attorneys would handle the public defense. So they had it just wasn't a county entity. That changed over to creating my office, the Douglas County Office of Public Defense, as I said, in April of 22.
Was it a change in relation to the size of Douglas County, just growth in Douglas County, or was it a decision just entirely by the commissioners?
I think ultimately the commissioners, I think they decided to go that route. You'd have to speak to them, I guess, as to their entire reasonings for that. I think part of it was the contract basis was getting a little bit more expensive. Maybe there was some concerns there with the effectiveness. I don't know 100%, but they did make the decision to go over to our office and bring me on, and we started from scratch, basically.
Tell me about staffing in your office. How many attorneys and supporting staff do you have?
So April 2022, it was me and a laptop sitting in the old district court office over there on 2nd Street. And now, as of June, I'll have 6 employees. I have a new attorney starting in June. She'll be my 4th attorney, and we have 3 support staff. So actually, 7 employees. Yeah.
7 altogether.
7, 8 with me. So with me, we'll have 8. But we'll have gone from me having nobody to 7 employees over the last 4 years.
Can you tell me about the caseload for your office? How many indigent defense cases come through your doors, say, every year?
Okay, so a rough estimate is about 500 in the misdemeanor realm in district court, and that's just new as of last year for us. In felonies, superior court, we're talking about anywhere from 150 to 200 felonies a year. It's been slightly lower in these last few years since we took over, due to, I think, a lot shortages in the prosecution office. But they have been over 200 felonies at times in Douglas County.
How's that shake out for you and your fellow attorneys in terms of individual caseload? Is it as much as you're able to handle? Could you take more?
Yes, I think we could. We are in a good spot, especially when you compare it to the state in general. I mean, there's places in the state that are in an absolute crisis in terms of public defense. King County, Snohomish County, even like the Tri-Cities, some larger counties are struggling to give defendants attorneys because they have reached their maximum cases. We're not even close in Douglas County. We've been blessed to have a good amount of attorneys to handle the cases that we have. So, for example, in Superior Court right now, before they change the standards, you can handle 150 felonies in a year, which isn't really tenable for any attorney. I've never given an attorney more than 100. So we're well within the current levels. You know, at the end of 10 years, we'd be over it, but we are able to handle our cases well here. We're in a good spot.
The standards that you're talking about, I think, are standards that sort of flow from a fairly recent Washington Supreme Court decision, which said that indigent defense, people who can't afford an attorney, deserve an attorney, must have an attorney under the Constitution, and Washington has to provide it. But it changed the way that caseloads are balanced, if I remember correctly. Can you explain a little?
Correct. Well, so it's not a brand new thing. The indigent defense standards went into effect, I don't remember the exact year, but it was towards the beginning of my career, I want to say 2013, 14, 15 range. And those are the numbers that I'm talking about. Before it was recently adjusted, they had set case limits for certain types of cases. The two big ones are felonies and misdemeanors. Felonies was 150 a year, as I said before, which is a lot. And misdemeanors was either 300 a year or 400 if you developed a case weighting system. Most places I've worked have not had the case weighting system, so you're looking at twice as many misdemeanors you could do as felonies. So 150 and 300. This last year, the state bar enacted new standards, and the Supreme Court eventually put those into effect as order, as law in the state, and they will, over the course of 10 years, significantly reduce those to about a third of what they currently are. In 10 years, the maximum felonies is 47, and the maximum amount of misdemeanors is 120. So
what that translates to for your office is you need more lawyers eventually.
that is very true, yes. Right now, and honestly, you can see my little scratch here of like the numbers I see it'll be over the course of the next 10 years. In Douglas County, I don't think we're really in danger of violating those limits under the 10-year plan, really for the next couple of years. I think with the staff that I have now, and next year I do expect to try and add one more support staff, but I don't think I'll need new attorneys under this new provision for a few more years. We're in a pretty good spot. We're a smaller county, smaller caseloads than the city.
You have a budget for 2026 of about $1.12 million from Douglas County. As we discussed earlier, that goes mostly to staffing. That's human resources cost for you largely. Can you explain a little bit about the funding mechanism, how much of that comes from the county and how much the state supports?
I mean, pretty much all from the county. That 1.2 million, whatever the budget you just said there, that's all county money. We get from the state, there is a state particular statute grant that for each individual county, all we have to do is fill out an application each year for these 10101 funds, we call them, because that's the statute. And based on your county, caseloads, population, there's a set amount we get every year. For most of our first few years, that was $40,000 for Douglas County, a smaller county. We get $40,000 from the state. That has jumped to 80. It's pretty much doubled. I think starting this year and then moving forward, we'll be getting 80. But even if that 80 was to go, one of the rules is that that can't just supplant money that's already in your county budget. So I can't just make my 1.2 now 1.1 and add the state's $80,000. That's supposed to be public defense improvement and to add something extra. So pretty much all of the money is fronted by the county.
And that state contribution is extremely minimal in comparison with the overall budget.
Very much so, yes.
Are public defense agencies in Washington advocating for other funding streams? Are there efforts afoot to try and say, how can we fund this further in the future, given that our caseloads are going to have to go down?
I'm not involved in any of that. I have to imagine that they are. Most of what I've been seeing and following is that from the public defense side, they're pushing for the standards to be enacted. That, look, this is a problem. We need to find a way to solve this problem, and lower caseloads is the way the public defense side of things has been pushing for it. Certainly the other side, prosecutors unions and the counties, everybody, that's the first question is, well, how do we fund this? And I have yet to see an answer on that. And that's going to be the problem with this. It's certainly going, in our county in particular, which is all I can really speak to, by the time we get to the end of those standards, that's going to mean at least 2 more attorneys for me, at least. And that's if our numbers stay about the same. I feel like we are doing a great job now with the attorneys that we have. So for an attorney, you're talking with between salary and county benefits anywhere from $100,000 to $150,000 that can make that 1.2, 1.5 really fast without any extra revenue stream from the state.
And hiring attorneys is difficult for a number of reasons. They're highly trained professionals, they're highly educated, they may come into practice with a lot of debt to pay off from their law school careers, and there may be other law firms, private law firms, that can outcompete a public defense agency.
Yes, all of that is correct. It's kind of flipped, at least in our area, to where at least initially the salaries out of school, I pay higher, I think, than some of the local firms. But that's not necessarily always true in the city, and it caps really fast with the county payroll, whereas there's more room for growth. But the biggest problem for us, especially with these standards, is bringing the attorneys to rural central Washington. Even the people that do want to do this for a living aren't necessarily wanting to come here. And if everybody is hiring, well, King County and Spokane County and the people that want to be in the city are going to get all of those people first. That's been, as director management-wise in my job, the thing that's always on my mind is if I lose an attorney, where am I going to get the next one?
And factor in things like the housing crisis that we have here in the Valley and just the lack of available, affordable places to live.
Absolutely, it makes it tough.
Makes a difference. Do you think that, you've said that you think your office is in a fairly good position right now, but do you think overall, as requirements change, if funding doesn't increase from the state, does that put your office or public defense agencies in general at a disadvantage when they come into court to represent their clients who otherwise can't afford an attorney?
Well, yes, I mean, certainly there's no question to that. And I guess that in a couple of ways. Certainly particular to our area, if we're requiring more attorneys and then they're paying less, if we don't have pay parity with the prosecutors, for example, the people that want to do criminal law and want to come to Central Washington are probably going to go work for the prosecutors instead of us because they have a higher salary. That part of these standards pushes for pay parity, which a lot of places in the state have, but not everywhere. And then, yes, the other issue is if we get down to the levels here where you're only supposed to be handling 120 misdemeanors a year, and I have only 2 attorneys to do that, and they're filing 500 cases, we can't. We're not able to do that and stay within the law. And if we are staying within the law, my attorneys are now handling twice of what they're supposed to be doing under the law. So that doesn't exactly help as a recruitment tool either, working hard for less money.
Jesse, is there anything you can think of that I didn't ask about concerning public defense funding that you think our audience should be aware of?
I think just what we talked about, highlighting the fact that this is really put all on the counties. And, I know that that's a hot button for our commissioners and for county commissioners across the state. I couldn't tell you the exact numbers, but the amount of the county budget in general that goes towards the criminal justice system, towards, you said that's my budget is 1.2. Believe me, of the system, mine is the smallest. The prosecutors is more than that. The courts are going to be more than that. So just the amount of money that the county has for everything, how much of that goes to the criminal justice system, I think would be eye-opening to people, and especially to hear how little of that actually comes from the state, who is mandating that we have these numbers. People like to always call it an unfunded mandate, right? The state comes in and says, this is the law, this is what you have to do, but doesn't provide any money to do it, and puts that all on the way to the counties. And so, as a public defense guy, I'm never going to advocate for more cases. Obviously, less cases, more time to work on individual cases equals better lawyers, better representation for our citizens who are charged with crimes. That's the side of it. But the other side of it is where does the money come from to do that? And why should the state be able to force numbers and then not actually divvy up any of the money to help with that? Especially if, as you said, it was just before the legislature to put a large amount of new money towards that, and they just said, no, we're not going to do that.
It's an ongoing problem, and we hope there's a solution for it at some time in the future.
Right.
Jesse Collins, Chief Public Defender for Douglas County. I'm really grateful you could come by today.
Thank you.
You're watching the NCW Life channel.
Hi, I'm Corley with Wenatchee Valley Humane Society, shelter manager here. And today we have something special for you. We have a puppy. This is Breve. Yeah, and she's our 4-month-old female puppy. We think that she is maybe a mix of Shepherd and Husky, but that's kind of our best guess. We're not really sure. She came in to us as a transfer from one of our shelter partners here in Washington State. Yeah, and unfortunately, we've had her for 2 months now, so half of her life. She's 4 months now, and she's already growing so much since we first got her. Yeah. She came here with 2 siblings, and they both got adopted right away, and she is just still waiting there for her forever home. Breve enjoys all the puppy things, playing with toys, playing with balls, stuffed animals, wrestling with her people. Yeah, she loves walks. She's really treat motivated, and she's already learning sit. Yeah, she's really good at that. Yeah. She really likes our other puppies here, and we think she'd be really fun for a family. She's a really sweet girl. We think Breve would be great in a family and with other dogs. She's young enough where she is able to learn to get along with just about any other pet. It's a really great age to bring a new family member in. Yeah. So Breve's a little too young for our doggy date program. And hopefully she doesn't get too old where she's still here to go on our doggy date program. But if you are looking to take a dog out, we would love you to come down and take one of our many dogs out for coffee or to Pybus or for a hike or whatever. Yeah. Like all of our dogs and cats here for adoption, Breve is fixed. She was spayed and she has all of her vaccines and she's been dewormed and she has a clean bill of health. She's a very healthy puppy. Yeah, you are. So if you'd like to come and meet our Breve, we are open 7 days a week now from 12:30 to 6, and we'd love nothing more but to introduce you.
Give them a call at 509-662-9577 or visit their website at wenatcheehumane.org.
I'm Jen Mueller. Watch for my show, I Cook, You Measure on NCW Life. It's part cooking instruction, part entertainment, and all about connecting over food and wine with your favorite Northwest athletes.
Watch I Cook, You Measure with Jen Mueller Mondays at 1, Wednesdays at 2, Fridays at 11 a.m., and Saturday and Sundays at 10:30 p.m. right here on the NCW Life channel.
Mow, dig, haul, trench. The reliable Kubota BX Series subcompact tractor is highly capable. A smooth hydrostatic transmission makes for easy operation and versatile attachments that help you handle the job. The Kubota BX Series is the #1 selling subcompact tractor in the U.S. Talk to your Kubota dealer to schedule a demo.
All right, the weekend is almost upon us. Not any other weekend, of course. Easter weekend. Today is Good Friday, as you know by now, if you've been watching this show, and I'm pretty sure you have. All this week, the Wenatchee Downtown Kiwanis Club has been sponsoring special messages from local pastors in our valley for a Holy Week. And once again, at the First United Methodist Church on Washington Street, right across the street from Washington Elementary School, the good one. Well, they're all good, but Pastor Debbie Speary is going to be doing the honors today from the First United Methodist Church. A Prophecy Fulfilled is today's message, so check it out on Holy Week. And thanks to everybody, and thanks to the Wenatchee Downtown Kiwanis Club for sponsoring that. That was nice of them to do that. Shop Talk, we got soccer tonight, the beautiful game. This will be a good one, too. Eastmont Wildcats, very good. We'll be hosting their Big Nine rivals, the Davis Pirates, also very good. We'll take to the air at about 6:45 with a game starting at 7 o'clock. Pretty good soccer match tonight. If you can't make it out to Wildcat Stadium, you can watch it right here on the Instant Live channel. We'll also have it streaming on our Facebook page and on our YouTube page as well. You don't want to miss that. And here is what the Climate Prediction Center thinks that April is going to be like. This came out Tuesday afternoon, but I thought, well, I better get it out there before we get much deeper into April. And as you can see, both temperatures above normal and precipitation probably below normal. It's leaning that way. Anyway, the Climate Prediction Center are the people who take a look at the long-term forecast, the computer models, all that stuff, and they try to give you an overall picture for the month of April. And right now, there it is, slightly warmer than normal and slightly drier than normal. Instead of using the National Weather Service, I'm going to consult the Magic 8 Ball here. So here we go. What will the weather be like on this very important Easter weekend? And the Magic 8 Ball says, most likely. So there you go. We will most likely have weather this weekend. Outside of a periodic cloud here and there, it's going to be fairly sunny right into the weekend. We'll top off at 59 today. Mostly clear tonight, 38 for the overnight low. Sunshine for the most part on Saturday with a high of 64. Overnight Saturday night, we'll get down to about 43 degrees. Sunday, for Easter Sunday, we are going to see perhaps a few more clouds, variable cloud cover. Sometimes the clouds might be a little low, look a little threatening. Other times they'll be quite high. And other times we'll have sunshine. So periodic clouds here and there on Easter Sunday, and we'll top off at about 68 degrees. We wrap up Easter with mostly cloudy skies on Sunday night with an overnight low about 47. Quite a bit of sunshine Sunday. Look how mild it's going to be, 73 degrees on Monday. That'll be the warmest day of the year so far, no surprising there. And then the ridge of high pressure, which is giving us this nice weather over the next 4 days, is going to start breaking down on Tuesday afternoon. Some cooler air is going to slide down from the Gulf of Alaska. It has a tendency to be a little cooler up in Alaska, common sense tells me, which is why we're still going to have sunshine on Wednesday and Thursday, but it will be considerably cooler than what we're expecting over the weekend. All right, that's it for us. Have a good Holy Weekend, and provided the show isn't canceled, I'll see you Monday. Till then, bye-bye.